look, it's good to be here. Hopefully, you've all seen how far we've come since Simon purchased the club. We won't get everything right, but it's important when we learn when we get things wrong. I think in the main it's been a really successful 2.5 years. We've had some real highs. I think the stadium's come on, the academy's come on. Neil Critchley, hopefully, be careful saying that word around here, but hopefully we'll continue to go from strength to strength. But in the main, no, I think it's been a really job well done, and I think everyone's played their part. We're only as strong as our team, and that comes from Simon Sadler, through all the management in the club, through everyone connected to the club, down to the apprentice groundsman and onto our supporter base, because the sense of togetherness that Neil's been able to foster, I think, resonates from the terraces all the way to the boardroom. So from us up here, myself and Brett as two of the three directors, and Ash, who obviously an integral part of what goes on around the club, thank you very much. And I'm here now, hopefully, rather than me rabbiting on, to answer the questions you guys want to ask.
Tim Fielding, recently elected committee member.
As of 10 minutes.
10 minutes ago. Yeah, I think it's really just sort of an opportunity to give yourselves up there, hopefully expand on the philosophy of the club. I mean, I think from where we're all sat, particularly against, say, 12 months ago, I think if you told us that we'd be where we are in the Championship this time last year, you'd have had to pinch yourselves. So my guess is that probably we're ahead of where we thought we were going to be, and I was just wondering how that was factoring into the strategies that you guys are working to at the moment. And obviously getting Neil Critchley signed up to a long-term deal was clearly fundamental to that. But I'm just wondering whether you could sort of share what you can about what the strategy is on transfer policies, because the Championship is a bit of a basket case financially, and navigating through that sensibly is a challenge. And I just wondered how you see yourselves doing it.
I think one of the things we did when we made the decision, and it was a difficult one because Simon Grayson is a really genuine football person, so that was a difficult decision. But when Critch came in, it was clear that we needed to talk about how we were going to play football and how all of that was going to link up. And I think whilst when we're in League One, we're a big club in League One, and we were able to be competitive with the fantastic support of what was 5,500-ish season tickets, all of the sponsors and Simon. When you go to the Championship, we're not, but we want to continue to punch above our weight. So we felt we needed three things, which was quality of coaching, quality of recruitment, and quality of academy. And I think Neil Critchley sort of ticks the first box, and that's been seen now. That I think Critch, very much in a Jurgen Klopp way, he would suggest, finds a way to win when we have injuries, sets up, invariably seems very tactically astute. So, everybody's seen how the journey that Critch has been on, and I think he leaves us well prepared. He gives the players very little excuse. We're well prepared, we're well drilled, there's good analysis, we prepare right, we travel right, we've improved the analysis, we've improved the sports science, we've improved the medical side of the club, all to give him the best opportunity to overachieve. And hopefully sat 11th, we're showing that we're doing that definitely bang for buck in terms of size of budget. In terms of recruitment, we made initial appointments, Tommy Johnson, Johnny Gibson, and that's now been led on by John Stevenson, who's our head of football operations. John's just spent about 12 months at the club now. John's a few grey hairs that maybe we need. Very, very experienced operator in that sort of head of football ops, head of football style role. He heads up an extensive team now for recruitment. When it came to the academy, we brought back Kieran Donnelly from his 3-year sabbatical up the road, and I think we've seen now that they sit second. They're through to semi-finals. We've got the FA Youth Cup game on Thursday. I think it'd be brilliant for as many as possible to get behind the lads. We've made that free of charge, and we really want the boys to feel a little bit of the experience and the support that the first team boys have faced. The academy, of course, will take some time. I don't think it's a secret from the EFL productivity reports that we were one of the lowest ranking Category 3 academies, given the lack of investment that was made in that area under previous ownership. And Kieran, now is working, with an extensive staff, which is beyond the core requirements of what's required for Category 3. I'm quite excited about the recruitment that he's doing. We are really now in the arm wrestle for some of the best young players that are getting released from Cat 1 and Cat 2 teams, and that's a credit to the work that he's done and his newly appointed head of recruitment, Paul Murray. So we're having a right go across those three. What that probably means is that Simon has given us fantastic support, but he's also given us support with some fairly meaty capital investments. The work that's been done around the stadium, is considerable. The work that's been done towards the new training ground will be considerable. And at some point, we've also said further down the line will come, hopefully the East Stand as well. So to give us a budget that will compete towards the top of the championship, then of course, player trading may need to be part of that to like we've seen the journey that Brentford, for example, have gone on. Barnsley went on as well. So, I want to be honest about that we've got to do it sensibly. We've got to do it with a model. We've got to stay within our remit. I've been on a couple of EFL Championship calls about profitability and sustainability, and it's fantastic that I can sit there going, we just don't need to fall out about any of these type of numbers, because we're just going to manage ourselves in a way that doesn't put the future of the club at risk, that we live within what Simon thinks is sensible, and we stay in our lane. On deadline day, we were looking at various things. Do we get a really expensive short-term loan in, or do we do what we did with Owen Dale? And for us, the Owen Dale, just to come back to your point, Tim, about transfer sort of policy, the Owen Dale one just feels right for us, that we're taking a young man that's on modest wages at Crewe and we're giving him, good Blackpool wages, and he wants to come, and there's an eye of the tiger about him. There's a hunger, there's a desire to be here, that they see Blackpool now as a footballing destination. And I think that suits us than trying to find short-term fixes or eking out the last 12 months for somebody. We've got a young, hungry squad in the main with a smattering of over 30s. And I think Maxi, Medine, Keogh, add that little bit of grey hair. And I think we've got a good blend. So the policy for us is across those three strands, which I think Simon talked about in his last piece. That coaching, that recruitment, and that academy piece. So I'm quite pleased where we've got to across those three, and hopefully with the togetherness that we foster, with the hard work, with the desire, with the fact that everybody now wants to be in Blackpool, that we can continue to overachieve.
I think I can speak for most people when we say, I think we all know that if we do have to reach that point where we've got to make a sale to balance the books, that we know it's going to go back into the club. And I think that's something that we didn't have 10 years ago when we were in a similar situation in the Championship and risking losing players, where it went. And I think there's a realisation we're in a division where if we're going to balance, we've got to sometimes cash in. We saw Brentford do it, as you've mentioned, extremely well. And sometimes there's big money to be received in, isn't there? And if you can convert that and churn again, I see that as something very, very positive for the club. So
yeah, absolutely. And I think we just try and be honest. Try and be honest and transparent, and they're words that hopefully are going to resonate around the room. And there's nothing to hide anymore. We'll be as upfront and as honest as we can be. And at times we're just going to have to stay within our lane. We're just going to have to understand the support from the fan base, the support from the local sponsorships and stakeholders, and the support from Simon. This is where we get to. We're just going to make that go as far as we can. And hopefully, you've seen the type of individual that Critch wants to recruit, Critch wants to work with, Critch wants to develop. And in the main, I think if they don't win, they've given you pretty much all they can. And I think we have to sometimes, that's us, and that's good.
I'm Mark Turner. I squeaked in third place in the election.
Congratulations, Mark.
I don't know about congratulations. It's a matter of pot luck, really. I'm looking at how close the votes were down there. Is what I would say.
I'm sure Grimmy said there's free beers, isn't they, for everyone that won?
Well, we've heard that Raggy's a big real ale lover, so I'm hoping you've got a few points on that. My question's about the training ground. Anything you can tell us about that, its development? We're all hoping that's going to be a great community facility. And obviously we want to see it yesterday, but where are we?
I'm still a lawyer by trade. I still maintain my practicing certificate because Mum said if I've sent you to uni, you can bloody pay a few quid to keep going every year. So I do, Tim. I pay that 280 odd quid every year. I don't want to blame lawyers, but we're kind of there really. A preferred site is identified, as Brett and I have said in different dispatches over recent weeks. We are so close to being able to make an announcement. I think it'd be really silly of us to make the announcement until we've got the land assembly piece done, that I've got all the different people's signatures on contracts, binding contracts, and then we can. So we are very close. We're into about our third or fourth knockback of the various documents between solicitors, and apologies if there's any property lawyers in the room, but they're not the most usually dynamic and personable types, if you've ever bought or sold houses. But joking aside, we're very, very close to being able to make a really, looking at Brett, because we're both incredibly excited. We are really, really close, and Ash, we really are close to telling you what's going on. And also, we're very fortunate with the support that Simon gives us, that we're not just sat waiting for that land assembly piece and then everything's going to kick into action. We're continuing to work behind the scenes so that we're very close with our architects and our our project managers and our agronomists and those that are telling us where pitches can and can't be done and where drainage does and doesn't need to go, that hopefully we can make some fairly swift progress as soon as I have everyone's signature on a contract. That means the site's hours were secured, and we can be getting in front of the relevant councils and planning divisions. So I'm really hopeful that we're still weeks away from being able to make that announcement.
Thanks a lot, Ben. Will it be a centre of excellence?
I've picked up different words and phrases in dispatches, and I try not to mention the former owner's name. That seems to get me a few brownie points. So Brett and Simon are fantastic for guiding me around avoiding pitfalls that I might through talking too much and mentioning words I shouldn't. But what I can assure you it is going to be a fantastic site. It's going to be an absolute legacy for the club from this period and from Simon's ownership of the club, and it will be a centre for the development of hopefully some of the best talent from local people on the Foul Coast. And I'm really hopeful that once we can show you it all, you will always be even more excited than Brett and I and Simon.
Thank you. You know, we were sat in here a few years ago, we'd never envisaged we'd have such a positive situation here. We were a trusted exile, we were stoking the coffers thinking we might not have a football team, and we're all here now. You know, and one thing we've always had common to us, if you cut any of our wrists, we'll have tangerine blood coming out of us all. We're so dedicated. And I know you are as well, Brett, being a local and a lifelong supporter. The question I wanted to ask, I think, mainly to Brett, but also interested for you guys, just in terms of the demographics of the town and this place where we live, is I know, Ben, you were over at Barnsley, weren't you? You're over in charge at Barnsley. In terms of Blackpool's a seaside resort, one thing that's always amazed me is, being of an older vintage, 56 years of age, I've seen Barrow go out in the Football League, Workington, Southport, all the coastal resorts really struggle football-wise. Southend, but Blackpool just held in there because we're probably the biggest seaside resort. But our demise into the bottom two leagues, everybody comes out with, oh, we've had a terrible time. Nobody had as many years in the bottom two leagues out of the established, you know, first and second tier teams as Blackpool. So what I would say, all the energy in the North Standard in the club at the moment and here today, it's absolutely palpable and it's superb. What are the challenges faced running a club in a town like this with the demographic that it has? And what would you say are maybe the similarities and differences with Barnsley? Because I know we've chatted a bit about it. I think it'd be interesting for people to hear that.
Look, at the first year, talking earlier about lawyers, that's what I felt like. You know, the weekly board calls I had with Simon and Brett, for the first 12 months, I didn't see the light of day. You know, it was just dealing with legacy issue after legacy issue after, you know, mess after mess left by the sort of the former ownership. In the last 12 months, I feel like we've been able to come up for air a little bit, get involved in the Pride of Place, the Town Deal Board, the Town Deal Investment Board, and I'm trying to sort of do our bit, really. I think we sit in a unique place within the town, because obviously a lot of the core supporters, the 8,000 season ticket holders, the sort of 1,500-ish that come most games, you know, they're most are living within the locality, yet the 18 to 20 million visitor economy is very much people coming outside. We've got 8 of the 10 most deprived wards in the country, and we have a responsibility as the football club, as the most high profile brand, if you like, one of the most high profile entities, to try and do all we can. And we won't win every week, Andy, we won't, you know, that's just life. And working with Ash and doing what we're doing, building up the academy, investing in hopefully the training ground and the East Stand, means that we'll try and do our bit to spark more employment, greater skills for young people. I spoke at a business in the community breakfast recently, and I'm really asking for the other big high profile entities in the town to show a bit of bravery and come together, because when COVID disappears, there's a strong chance that we'll all think about going to warmer climates for our holidays again, and some of the boom that we're feeling now might dissipate as quickly as it came. And, you know, if you go to Disney and some of these other resorts, we've now got the fastest internet in the country via a cable that comes from New York. So in essence, the London Stock Exchange would be better served in Blackpool than where it is. And that's just a fact. And we need to be brave, and we need to be at the centre of that, because I don't think we threaten some of the other resorts that are here. If we're not brave and we don't give the young people of Blackpool hope that there's good skills, there's good training, there's good opportunity for them post-16, then I share some of your concerns I think you were echoing a few moments ago. So for me, we need to be the first digital resort. We need to have an app. We need to have, and not just have this great functionality so we can all talk to each other and we can all book things. And if you book to come to the football, you get the sandcastle cheaper, or you get the pleasure beach. And we've all got to share, because if not, we're all, especially the other high profile tourist attractions here, I feel they could fight for a shrinking pot, and that'll be sad. So we've got to be brave, we've got to be visionary, we've got to share data, we've got to embrace what we are, which is a bloody good place to come and enjoy yourself. We are the entertainment capital of the UK, and we have to show a bit of bravery. And I think the football club, now we've hopefully dealt with a lot of those legacy issues and we're talking about being proactive, we have to bring the town together. We have to bang the drum, we have to be brave, we have to call for this. Andy Charles does a good job as well, the council are fairly supportive as well, but without that bit of bravery now, without all sharing information and trying to give the young people of Blackpool some hope that there's employment here, there's skills here, that they don't have to disappear to Manchester, Liverpool, then I think, you know, Paul, Scott, Mark and the other MPs and the local council will have a challenge. So it's very much on our radar as a club, and it's very much on Simon's radar. And Brett maybe can speak a bit about, you know, because he's the Blackpool guy, I'm the guy that's paid to try and make a lot of this happen. We have to do that bit. We have to do that bit. And I think we're in a unique position, because invariably when people are coming to watch the football, they're coming anyway. So we're not a threat to some of the other parts of the visitor economy. But I think without investment in the digital age, and then saying, you know, we all need e-commerce, we all need digital marketeers, we all need data analysts. But if we all go away as 8, 10, 15 companies and try and train those people, it's going to get expensive. Why don't we try and work with Blackpool and Fylde College and develop programs to upskill our local people and the youth as well? And I really hope that I'm here long enough to sort of keep banging that drum and try and deliver on some of what you were saying we should be involved in. So hopefully, Paul knows a little bit, but other people, the local council, would echo what we're trying to do in terms of the club. And I'll pass over to Brett now. Simon is as passionate about the town as he is the club. He's Blackpool, and he loves the town as much as he loves the club.
And Andy just said previously, you cut anybody in this room and they bleed tangerine, and that goes for all supporters of Blackpool. The various groups we have, we know, but all supporters and the great work that you're doing at the club. How can we support you? What can we do for you as supporters? What would you want from the Blackpool supporters?
That's a great question, isn't it? I think we're very, look, Tony, I see you regular and the volunteers that come and help us clean up after a match day, and just everything from things like that to, like Ashley's going to ask for some help, maybe wrapping all the presents. The list could go on. I think the big thing for me is just help taking us forward. Just the support, the match day. Everybody's doing their bit. Simon's doing his bit. Local businesses like FTS are doing their bit. Everybody's doing their bit. And I think that's what Simon spoke about a year or so ago in his thing, is if we can all just do our bit. And the big thing, I guess, as supporters that we've talked about is, can you nobble the next door neighbour that's not been for 5 years or 10 years, and sort of, I don't know what the dictionary definition of nobble is, so I do apologise if this is going live on, twist their arm, maybe, to sort of, come on, there's a bit of something happening down at Bloomfield Road. This guy Critch has got them going, and come on. I would say for me, just off the top of my head, because it was a great question, that apart from the bits that we're very grateful for, that help our budget and help our club look and feel more professional than we are with the staff that we've got, I think it's that. I think just bang the drum. But in a positive sense. I know you've had to bang the drum in a really in a difficult sense to get to where we're at. But I think now it's, can you go to those lapsed fans, those fans that you knew were season tickets or regular attendees when we were last in the Championship and Premier League, and say, there's a bit of something happening down here at Bloomfield Road, and do you fancy coming and getting involved and giving the new generation an opportunity? And especially, as Brett just alluded to, for me, that's really around the sort of like the next generation of fans, and hopefully in the next 6 months we'll get back going with young Seasiders. That's very much in our plans for next year. Every year we've tried to do something, the online store, the CRM system, we've tried to take us forward, very close to being able to use your phones, both for your season tickets and your match tickets. We really are trying to bring something in on a regular basis. So Junior Seasiders is very much in our plans, but that would be my answer. Just one thing. I don't know if you noticed what the support means to the players. Although it was great, when Critch comes and does his sort of fist pump, that the players are nearly itching to do it with him. And I think that's great, that togetherness. But I don't know if you noticed that the QPR game, which was live on Sky, I thought we give it a quite remarkable account of ourselves that night, live on Sky. And once I'd finished questioning the officials, and Nick Horn, our club secretary, finally pulled me away from Alan Wiley, who must have dreaded coming to that game, who's now the head of the professional referees for the Championship, and you'll all remember Alan Wiley as a Premier League referee. Once he pulled me away from there, I don't know if you saw, there was definite moments of the game when the full stadium was at it, and Critch is just there. He's trying to watch the game, and his head's just going up and down in tandem to your chanting. And I haven't seen that. In 20 years of being involved in professional football, and in sort of 30 odd years of being fortunate enough to watch it in stadiums, I've never seen a head coach as diligent as Critch be remotely distracted from the game, and while he is barking out orders, to be nodding his head to the music. So I think little things like that for me show just how far this club has come from what I understand and what I've learned over the last 2 years.
Yeah, hi. This is a question that a few people have mentioned to me, and we're talking about trying to get more people back in the ground, and obviously the atmosphere is great, the North Stand is great, but I think there's there's been a lot of work done on homophobic chanting, racist chanting, but nobody ever mentions sexist chanting. And I think that there's a lot of females that may be put off from coming not just to Bloomfield Road but to all football grounds because they feel they don't like to hear it, basically. Now I know you guys probably bring your wives to games as well, and it can be quite unpleasant, and I think that those of us who come regularly and have done for many years are a little bit hardened to it. We have to think about the people that aren't regulars, that may come now and again, and that's the sort of thing that could put people off. And women do make up like 50% of the population, so it's quite a huge number of people that could be kind of thought about a little bit more. I just wondered if you had any thoughts on that.
Well, look. Firstly, I'll pass over to Ash because Ash is starting a journey for the club to really take forward women and girls football here at the club and connected to Blackpool. That's slightly aside from what you're asking, Karen. Look, any form of discrimination just totally and utterly unacceptable. All the stewards are trained to be able to receive complaints, all the way up to obviously our ground safety officers. We are having to take a fairly tough stance on a few things at the moment. More bottle throwing, missile throwing, chasing coaches down Central Drive. I think that's an incredibly small minority, and we're working with Lancashire Police, as some of these in the room know, to try and deal with that. Therefore, I would hope that if that is happening, that we are open and approachable as a club to receive those complaints and to deal with it. And if we're not, then I would welcome that feedback and we will try and improve. I think we've done so much as a football club to come to be a really open and honest and community-based football club, that if some of that is happening, then we need to know about it. You're quite right that we want to be a family club. I believe we're a long way to being a family club. I look at the family enclosure now on a match day, and it's much more populated than it was when I arrived. So I think we're making good steps, but nobody in today's professional sporting arena can get complacent, can pretend that things don't exist. We absolutely have to deal with them, and we will deal with them. So if there's things we can learn, then I'd like to hear about it.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, brilliant to see all three of you here today. Thanks for making the time. My question is about the slightly less than level playing field when it comes to televised games this year. I think we've had one. Other clubs seem to be on almost every other week. What do you feel about this, and what can be done about it?
Look, we're contracted as part of our membership of the Championship to be on air twice. So we'll definitely be on air twice. I would love to be on air as often as possible because, yes, you do get a substantial financial payment. And I think given the level of support and what we're achieving, that would be really helpful extra money, because I think we've got a core fan base now that are right behind us that would come, you know, whether we're on TV or not. Bizarre, isn't it? Derby need the money. Don't get me started on Derby. I think, I look, Sky are a business, and am I allowed to? I spent 12 months at another club in Yorkshire other than Barnsley, and you know, at one stage the owner locked the keys and wouldn't let him in for a game because he was just fed up and he wasn't a popular owner, but he was just a football fan, believe it or not, and he just was fed up of Friday nights, Monday nights, Sundays, and just never having a 3 o'clock. Like, we all like our 3 o'clock on a Saturday routine, don't we? That we like it. And but ultimately, so much of the money that we receive from the EFL is generated from domestic and international broadcasting, and the Football League have just recently extended their international broadcasting deal, which doesn't affect the scheduling as much as Sky. So yes, it would be good to be on TV. I think we'd give a great account of ourselves every time we're on TV, and it would be a financial upside. QPR, Derby in particular are two teams that do seem to be on regular, Steve, but that's picked by the schedulers of Sky because they've got their advertisers that they've got to satisfy, and therefore Sky want eyeballs and therefore they'll tend to pick those teams where they think they're getting those eyeballs. That's the sort of business side, I guess, of our game.
2 questions. Ben, when are you coming in the North Stand, like we agreed?
To be fair, I thought it was today, but Brett sort of said it's soon. So no, we will do. We will do. To be honest, I'd like to sort of come and have a. It was actually at Birmingham, wasn't it? At half time. Simon regularly goes to us. He's going to kill me if I'm saying this, and I know it's been live streamed, but I've started now, so I better finish. Occasionally, Simon goes. We're sat there, and not all directors' boxes are like as warm and friendly as ours. And occasionally, he looks at me and Brett goes, and he's looking at the fans. He's going, "Come on, at half time, should we just go over there? Should we just go in there?" And that happens regularly. I'm very fortunate that I'm surrounded by 2 fellow directors that are absolute fans, and it enables me to behave a little bit lively at times, especially around referees. So we will come, Grimmy. For me, I'd like to, keep going the way we're going. Know that we've achieved our first aim this year of sort of, staying in the champ, and then maybe we can come and let our hair down a little bit when the first job is done, if you like.
The second one is, we've now got a regular, which is one of our ex-players, which is Danny Coyd.
Yeah.
He played for us since the age of 14, and he got absolutely shafted by the Oystons. He just got a generic letter, there you go, see you later. Now we're going to be setting up a Q&A in here. Now for me, and for the rest of the lads at the outfield, it's, for me it should have a testimonial. And I hope to God that the club are going to get involved in this when we do the Q&A as well, because he deserves it, because he got treated like just a piece of
I feel like I followed Cody's journey a little bit, maybe from afar, because he was represented for a long time by the company that I used to work for, and picked up that he got 1 or 2 opportunities to move on. I believe Celtic was one he was linked with strongly, if my memory serves me right. And that move and 1 or 2 other moves didn't happen for him, and he was paid what he was paid, and I think I can just about remember those numbers from my colleague telling me, and he gave great service to this club is what I understand. He came with some of his friends. He's working in the area at the moment, I understand, and he came with some of his friends, and actually his former agent Tam reached out to me not long after I came and said, look, Cody's got a real connection with this club, and how can you get him involved? And maybe he hasn't got his coaching badges, but how can we? And he came to the game, one of the last home games, and Nick Horn, our club secretary, met him, and we're going to have those conversations with him. I know Kieran's speaking to a number of ex-players, because it'd be great to see a number of ex-players on the coaching staff at the academy as well. I think it's something that we don't have a lot of at the moment, but I think it's really important for us going forward. So Simon is very committed to trying to help ex-players and members, former members of the Blackpool sort of family. So I really hope that we'll keep that. We'll now maintain that contact, because a lot of the ex-players haven't been in touch. We say sometimes we don't have a wash of ex-players on match days, for example, because there was just a period where they didn't want to be in touch with the club, and hopefully bit by bit, Grimmy, we're trying to put that right, and I think the Tony Green dinner was a real start for that, seeing loads of people back at the club, having a right good night at the club. Do you remember being there? So on Coady, I understand from afar that he gave great service to this club.
And we sort something out for him.
I think if there's the right opportunity, we'll chat to Danny about that, no problem at all. And if you're doing an event to support Danny and to sort of embrace his time at the club, then we'll get behind that, no problem at all.
Can we have an amazingly big round of applause for those girls?
Thank you, everyone. I think we all enjoyed that. Thank you.